Do I ever have trouble? No.
No. Yeah, I was just had you guys up here, and then all of a sudden they just disappeared.
Nope, that's just your phone, my friend, unfortunately.
Oh, well, I saw them.
There's people popping up. They're coming. Don't you worry. They'll be here momentarily. But in the meantime,
good evening. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. Well, on Thursday, Sleepy Joe finally woke the hell up. President Biden delivered the State of the Union, and he honestly kind of crushed it. I mean, even Trump's house elf, Lindsey Graham, was laughing and enjoying it. Normally, he's only that happy when he's secretly watching RuPaul's Drag Race. Biden's speech was great, but you could also tell the bar was very low. The New York Post's headline was just, "He's alive." That's it. That's like a headline you see about Bigfoot. Biden also got a big response while addressing the issue of abortion when he said, "We're about to find out how much political power women have." Then he turned to Kamala and said, "Except you." Former president and current reverse mortgage applicant Donald Trump criticized Biden's speech, saying the words are not flowing smoothly out of his mouth. Well, we can't all speak with the same effortless grace as Donald J. Trump.
Just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your...
Oh, it sounds like someone just inserted a colonoscopy camera.
Some Democrats criticize President Biden for talking about migrants by using the term illegals. But come on, he's 81 years old. Let him slide. He means well. Like when my mom put up that sign to stop Oriental hate. All right. Colin, you go.
Biden also took time in his speech to say that shrinkflation is affecting Snickers bars and that people pay the same amount for 10% fewer Snickers. And I got to give him credit because it's pretty risky for a white guy with a stutter to keep saying the word Snickers. The Republican response was delivered by Alabama Senator Katie Britt, who made some choices.
As a mom, I can't quit thinking about this. Mr. President, enough is enough. We see you. We hear you. And we stand with you.
Thanks. Those are all scenes from her one-woman show, A Brit Much. It's the play critics are calling, Is She Okay? That was honestly some of the worst acting I've ever seen, and I've seen Me.
Mitch McConnell officially endorsed Donald Trump for president because despite their differences, they actually go way back. Donald Trump endorsed Mark Robinson for North Carolina governor, calling Robinson Martin Luther King on steroids. Not to be confused with Martin Luther King on Ozempic. All right, you go again, Colin. I don't know. I don't have it today.
I'm glad you told it. Marjorie Taylor Greene, seen here dressed for a shift at TGI Crazies, was questioned by a reporter about her Jewish space lasers conspiracy theory, and Greene responded like this.
Tell us about Jewish space. No, why don't you go talk about Jewish space lasers, and really, why don't you off?
Wow. Even more shocking, look what happens a little later in the video.
Really, why don't you off? How about that?
Arizona Senator Kirsten Sinema, who looks like all the Flintstones at once, announced that she is retiring from the Senate. But I doubt any of us will ever forget the name of Senator Crystal Salmonella. All right.
It was reported that MSNBC studios in 30 Rock have been infested with bed bugs. For more on this story, everybody look under your seats.
Netflix announced that in July, it will live stream a fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. But the real fight will be Mike Tyson trying to pronounce Netflix. Netflix.
It's hard to do. See? JetBlue and Spirit Airlines announced that they are canceling their planned merger after a federal judge told JetBlue, girl, don't.
It was reported that 92-year-old Rupert Murdoch is set to marry his 67-year-old girlfriend. The couple asked in lieu of wedding gifts, send lube.
Oh, good, another one.
Oh, another one. It was reported that 92-year-old Rupert Murdoch is set to marry his 67-year-old girlfriend. The couple is registered at Campbell's Funeral Home. No, boy, this is a rough day for me, man.
For the first time ever, 2 male humpback whales were photographed having sex. Learn more about it in the heartbreaking drama Humpback Mountain.
A social media influencer was arrested for allegedly throwing a tampon at bouncers who were removing her from a club. Well, at least we know why she was acting that way. Should I just go home? I'm gonna go home.
A Pennsylvania man has been sentenced to 2 years probation for selling body parts for mortuaries, but still no punishment for the buyer, Arby's.
We have your grandpa.
For Weekend Update, sponsored by Arby's, I'm Colin Jost.
I'm Michael J. Good night.
Wow, that last one was really bad.
Subtract them, I suppose, but I'm trying
Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Thank you for giving me the time this weekend. My kid was just, he needed his dad. So I had to spend the time with him. And it was a fun weekend. Got to check out Dune 2 today, which was awesome. The fighting scenes in that movie were excellent. Excellent. Bleach, you weren't kidding. Let me tell you. Those were way different from the first video. First video definitely, or movie was definitely more politics than anything else. And then all of a sudden, bam, it just comes into all these awesome fighting scenes and like war and like strategy and everything else. Oh, it was awesome. That is my name.
Doom was the shit. I was the first one seen it. Give
Yes, you
me, give
were.
me mine. Give me mine. Don't give it to Bleach. Give me mine. Give me my glory sometimes.
Oh, Coach. Coach is the one
Yes.
that told me to go see it, and especially go see it in IMAX and
And
everything else. Coach is my ultimate leader. Sorry, Leo, you've been replaced.
hey, how you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I really am. So, we got to go see the movie and kind of figured that now that kid's back at home or back at his mom's, and I figured what a perfect time to try and prep everybody for what's about to happen tomorrow and what's about to happen in the upcoming weeks and what's going to happen with all of this and all of it unwinding and everything else because you're about to walk into it. But TZ, Bleach, how are you guys?
I'm good, good, good. How's everybody doing? Hey, I thought it was 9:30 Central. You know what I mean? That's why I was a little late. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Whatever.
There you go. There you go, James.
You
I
know
know
what I'm
he's
saying?
just being late. He's just late to the party as usual. But that's you know what you're fashionably late, so it's
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Y'all know what time it is.
Hey, security though. I just
Hmm.
want what's going on with the world, man? The world falling apart, bro. See this shit over there in Haiti, man. What the fuck's up, man? What's going on, bro?
You got a lot of shit that's going on.
Man, it's crazy, man. It's like we live in them days, man. When you know when they say you live in them the end days right now, man. It's like
Hmm.
everything's fucking just everybody at war with each other, bro.
Well, when you have governments that are trying to adopt certain new rules and regulations, you have people that are trying, governments that are trying to change currencies. You have people that are sitting there saying, "What's wrong with the prior system? Why are we switching?" And it's causing fights. Like I feel like for the people in Canada, I don't know why you're going into open banking policies. That's stupid. You're just giving your information to every creditor out there.
Wow.
Yeah, like I mean, there's a lot of stupid shit that's going on, and this is the way for them to try and fix things is by implementing new standards and implementing new rules and doing new currencies and all this other stuff. It's going to cause problems. It's going to cause ruckuses. And that's why you're seeing all of this. And this isn't just here. This is across the globe. I mean, let's go to China. Here, China has all these bonds that nobody's going to fucking buy. No one. I wouldn't touch that from a 5 foot clown pole. I mean, there is no way that those bonds are ever going to be purchased. Let's go to Germany and look at the foreclosures that they have on all their commercial real estate because, you know, we kind of nudged them a little bit. Hey, can you pick up our tab on some of these commercial real estate properties? And then China did the same thing. And you're sitting there, and Germany's just in a total shitstorm as of right now. And this is basically contagion, and it's going across the globe.
It's the 2030 agenda, bro.
Oh yeah, 20. I don't know about 2030. I would definitely go with like the 2024, 2025 agenda for sure, because it all comes back to one thing. And it comes back to hold to maturity. And all these people that picked up this paper that basically saying, oh, yeah, we'll give you a loan, but it's not going to come real, for 3 to 5 years. And it's all coming real now. And with no means to pay for it. And that's kind of what will lead me into tonight and what I want to go over with all of you. Up above, I posted the link so that everybody can kind of follow along. And like I said, you guys want to save this, you're more than welcome to. But the Bank Term Funding Program event that should bring hardship to our enemy. So this little clip is consider SoftBank the financial maestro turning the stock market into its own personal seesaw. Let's take a moment to lighten the mood as we navigate the twists and turns of the banking world. With the Bank Term Funding Program wrapping up tomorrow and the SoftBank new conundrum, that's what I should have put, well, a conundrum that has dipped 28.35% in after hours on Friday on our minds, and I'm here as a very wrinkled, financial savvy joker ape to steer you through the mayhem with a sprinkle of sarcasm and humor. Consider SoftBank, the financial maestro, turning the stock market into its own personal seesaw. They knack up for setting stock prices on a wild ride is nothing short of sorcery. They missed their calling as circus performers, expertly juggling the highs and lows of shares while rumors of their accounting antics buzz. But let's focus on the real spectacle, the sudden vanishing act of stock values. It's like a magic show where instead of a rabbit, it's your investment that disappeared. Here are the facts. In 2021, SoftBank found itself in a position where it had to divest a significant number of Uber shares to cover margins linked to its positions on AMC, GameStop, and Diddy stocks. Recently, the spotlight turned to SoftBank Holdings in ARM after the news headline read, SoftBank ARM Holdings stakes skyrocket after earnings. But this is kind of overshining the WeWork losses that they have. Here are the key points. So SoftBank shares in ARM Holdings leaped by as much as 41% in after-hours trading, thanks to an impressive quarterly earnings. Well, one thing that I didn't mention, and I'll mention to you all now, ARM, same thing as NVIDIA, creative accounting at its finest. So the surge added nearly 16 billion to the value of SoftBank's stake in ARM, boosting it from around 71.6 billion to 87.4 billion. This increased more than compensated for the SoftBank's total losses from WeWork, which went bankrupt in November following the substantial financial distress. SoftBank's acquisition of ARM in 2016 for $32 billion has proven fruitful, with the company's value reaching just over $47 billion at last year's IPO. Despite recent hurdles, including a $6.2 billion loss in quarter two, 2023 from the Vision Fund and the WeWork debacle, ARM Holding remains a pivotal player. Just trying to convert back to my computer. With ARM's IPO set for March 12th of 2024, SoftBank may be compelled to offload its shares to retail investors, potentially affecting the share price. Looking ahead, SoftBank may face further challenges, continuing a trend from recent years that may speculate could lead to insolvency. So the problem is that now you have another bank, and then this bank is going to affect another bank, and it's going to affect another bank. And as of tomorrow, when this bank term funding program ends, that's where the beauty of this whole thing lies, because it starts your cascading effect, your waterfall effect, where each one of these banks are going to have to pick up from the OCC a defaulting member, because they continuously do this over and over and over again. And as they continuously try to fix the defaulting member, that leaves them in a bad spot. So, but let's not hit the panic button just yet. Together, we're braving the unpredictable stock market safari. And if the SEC started scratching their heads, well, then you know the financial world has tipped into a realm of the extraordinary. So, my AMC apes, cling onto your seats as we parade through the economic carnival where we'll be jesters, ensuring you stay poised on this investment tightrope. Remember, a good chuckle can be the best remedy even when the stock market seems to be up to its old tricks. And what a spectacle it is to witness the dire predictions for NVIDIA's future. My sarcasm-laden words sketch a bleak scene of investors adrift in a sea of illusions. I truly relish in debunking any talks of a healthy pullback or a simple technical correction. Instead, I'm going to paint this stock market as a den of deceit, ready to ensnare the unwary. My portrayal of the nightmare that leveraged derivatives could unleash is enthralling. The sight of the profits morphing into losses is indeed a chilling prospect, particularly for those who envisioned clearing debts with the ephemeral gains. And imagine the trepidation of brokers and risk managers at the mere whisper of a complex derivative linked to NVIDIA. In painting this dark forecast, I pondered if I've been swept into exaggeration, but the market, after all, is fickle and full of fluctuations. Maybe it's prudent to take my foreboding words as a pinch of skepticism. Who knows? NVIDIA might just soar, flouting financial gravity. I highly doubt it, to be perfectly honest with you. But, so, while my narrative is gripping, let's not rush to declare NVIDIA's demise. In a financial universe, surprises are the norm. And let's not fret just yet. These setbacks, they're merely the result of rising interest rates, and we're all confident the U.S. won't default on its debts. After all, who's eager to become a bartender or revert to battering? So perhaps these losses are just a fancy way of saying we miscalculated a tad, or I can quote my favorite character in Star Wars, General Akbar, it's a trap. It smells fishy as General Akbar looks.
All wings report in.
Red leader standing by.
Gray leader standing by.
Green leader standing by. Block S files and attack positions.
May the force be with us.
We've got to be able to get some kind of a reading on that shield, up or down. Well, how could they be jamming us if they don't know if we're coming? Break off the attack. The shield is still up.
I get no reading. You sure?
Hold up! All craft, pull up!
Take a base of action. Green group, skip across the holding sector of each other.
Admiral, we have enemy ships in Sector 47.
It's a trap.
Fighters coming in. too many of them. Accelerate to attack speed. Draw their fire away from the cruisers.
Copy, Gold Leader.
Here's where it gets interesting. Let's enter the Fed, the virtual bailout, also known as the term funding program. You know, you have investors that get warm and fuzzy feelings about the potential benefits. It's like sipping a cocktail called expectations. Well, my friend, if Jerome, Mr. Burns Powell, wants the world to keep believing that the Fed will maintain high rates or higher for longer, he has no choice but to extend the duration of this particular program. It's like making a temporary sign permanent, just like they did with quantitative easing. So the problem that they're running into now is that because of SoftBank and everything that SoftBank has initially touched as of right now is about to go down. You could see NVIDIA as of tomorrow at anywhere between like a 13 to 25% fall tomorrow because of this bank term funding program. Robert, I'm so happy that you were able to come.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah. Everything good, man?
No, but it is what it is.
I got you. I got you. But I know, did you hear anything about this SoftBank issue? I know it was posted all over on Friday, but that was a burner.
You got SoftBank, you have Nomura, you have Deutsche Bank, you have Barclays, you have Goldman Sachs. They're all over leveraged.
Oh, yeah. Way over leveraged. But you know what? It's funny how it all comes back to one thing: commercial real estate and the hold to maturity problems. It all comes back to it. Robert, am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're right.
It's like that's the one thing that they never expected to happen was their assets to become real and turn into liabilities. So with all these banks being over leveraged, what ends up happening is that you're going to start seeing particular tickers that they are heavily invested in, and heavily invested to the point where to make them over leveraged. So every one of these stocks that those banks touched, you can see droppage. You just see that, and this isn't like a correction or a technical correction. This is a drop. And once it starts dropping, it's going to continue to drop until you get to the point where Jerome, Mr. Burns Powell, goes ahead and and basically pulls the rug. Because don't worry, you're setting up to it. He's done it twice already. Third time's always the charm. And when he does that, that is going to be, how should I put this? Glorious. It will be unprecedented. You will never see anything like that happen when he pulls that rug. So, as you guys already see, that it's not just the banks that are having these problems, it's also the Fed. So, the Fed likes to have its cake and eat it too. They're the masters at playing the game of economic uncertainty, dangling a carrot of endless support. So rest assured, their habits won't change anytime soon. In the meantime, let's sit back, grab some AMC popcorn, and watch how the big banks dance with the Fed for the virtual bailouts. It's a spectacle that leaves us simultaneously amused and scratching our heads. Who knows what other tricks that they have up their sleeve? But hey, at least we can find some entertainment in all the chaos. So hold on tight, my friends, because the show is far from over. The big banks, the Fed, and their financial acrobats will continue to keep us guessing and wondering. What on earth will they come up with next?
I've called you all here because I need some honest answers. What is my current financial situation?
Great. I hear great.
All right, well, let's have a look at my stock portfolio. Confederated Slave Holdings, how's that doing?
It's, steady. I'm sure all your stocks are doing well, sir. After all, you chose them.
Well, let's get out the old stock ticker and have a look. Eh, here's where I stopped checking it last time, September 1929. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Smithers, why didn't you tell me about this market crash?
Well, sir, it happened 25 years before I was born.
Oh, that's your excuse for everything. I've got to do something to get my money back quickly. This calls for an aggressive trading strategy.
Good idea, sir.
Take 50% of my money and put it in the blue chips. Transatlantic Zeppelin, Amalgamated Spats, Congreves and Flammable Powders, U.S. Hay, and sink the rest into that up-and-coming Baltimore Opera Hat Company. That should set things right again, eh, boys?
Absolutely. Oh, yes, sir. Genius. All the way. Can't go wrong with Congreves.
Are you saying my money's all gone? But I made all the right moves, didn't I?
Oh, yes, sir. Every move a right one.
I see it all now. You're just a bunch of yes men. I was making the wrong moves, and you were too gutless to tell me. Isn't that right?
Yes. Oh, yes, sir. Head on, sir.
Then I'll fix this myself. Smithers, take out another mortgage on the plant.
Well, the bank has already foreclosed on the plant. And your house, sir.
But what will I do?
Well, the first thing you'll have to do is move out of the bank's house. I'll help you pack.
Oh.
Come on, get out of here.
And I'm sure a pro wrestler such as yourself will appreciate all the closet space, Hitman.
Ooh, this place has got old man stink.
Ooh.
Don't listen to him, sir. You've got an enchanting musk.
And you wouldn't even be the only wrestler in the neighborhood. The Shrieking Sheik lives just 3 doors away.
Hey, I'll take it.
Would it be all right if I kept this portrait to remind me of better times?
Why would I want a picture of a pitiful pencil-neck geek?
Yeah, why indeed.
And that's what you're walking into. So the Bank Term Funding Program only covers U.S. Treasuries, their agencies, and government-guaranteed mortgage-backed securities. I'm going to say that one more time. The Bank Term Funding Program only covers U.S. Treasuries, agencies, and government-guaranteed mortgage-backed securities. Here's where investors are making the massive mistake. They are assuming that if the time comes, the bank term funding cocoon will transform into a TARP butterfly. This is the only rational explanation for the market willingly ignoring what's going on in the credit space, starting from commercial real estate, and not punishing the big banks for the ridiculously low credit loss provisions they booked in 2023. Another sign of the general thought lies in credit spreads across the rating spectrums. So, you want to know about the Bank Term Funding Program and its impact on the banks? Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because we're going to go hog wild now. I want you to picture a bunch of bankers all huddled together, sipping their fancy coffee and discussing this term funding program. They're probably flipping through spreadsheets, crunching numbers, and trying to figure out how it will affect their precious banks. Well, their portfolio soars like a rocket, or it makes them sink faster than a lead balloon. Well, my AMC apes, the impact of this program on the banks can be quite significant. The Bank Term Funding Program provides banks with cheaper funding for a longer period of time. It's like going to the buffet and paying for an all-you-can-eat meal at a discounted price. Who wouldn't love that? With the extra funding, banks can expand on their lending activities or offer lower interest rates on loans and maybe even throw in a free toaster for opening up a new savings account. Okay, not the toaster, but in short, it gives them the opportunity to be more attractive to customers and potentially rake in more money. But what does this do to the stock market? Well, it's like throwing a gallon of ice cream into a room of hungry kids. It creates a frenzy. When banks have access to cheap funding and are expanding their lending activities, it can boost investors' confidence and lead to a surge in bank stocks and stocks in general. Let's point to Nvidia and ARM as a perfect example. Investors start buying shares like there's no tomorrow, and the stock market can experience a good old-fashioned rally. Now, you also have creative accounting to also account for all this stuff as well. And their, you know, creative writing department, as I will call it. So, despite the increase in non performing loans and companies going all Chapter 11 on us, the credit loss provisions for Q4 are mysteriously lower than Q3 of 23. They're doing some magical number twisting dance to beat expectations while reality stares us in the face. Banks these days, but let's not be too quick to judge them. It's not entirely their fault when the government, who should be keeping them in line, is playing the same game. It's like a big circus where everyone is on the act and we're left scratching our heads. And now it's reporting season. So Teasy, if you got any suspenseful music, you can go ahead and put that on right now.
I don't have nothing open.
No, that's even better.
My computer shut down right just a second.
That's even better.
Sorry, man.
Perfect.
I apologize.
No, that's okay.
Bad
That's
co-host.
okay.
Bad co-host.
No, that's all right. That's fine. So I'm more so intrigued to see how the European banks are going to handle their nuclear explosion in commercial real estate bonds because they picked up the commercial real estate tab from the US and China. How will that fare? How on earth will they hide the massive losses that the government bonds are digging into their hold to maturity books? Their losses are simply paper losses, like they say across the pond. Nope, they're the real deal. And let's not forget the outrageously high inflation in a continent struggling to grow its GDP. It's going to be quite a challenge for politicians to endorse yet another central bank weapon of mass wealth destruction. So, time to strap on your thinking caps. And here's where the problems lie. This should be everything that they have tried or they have to try to account for starting tomorrow. Those who anticipate risk prematurely are often not taken seriously. So, in other words, the risk that you're associating is all the hold to maturity paper. That's one. Two, you have your stocks like Nvidia, you have ARM, you have all these blue chips that are just going out of nowhere. They're not associating the risk. Guys, put your hands down. We can answer questions when I'm done. But you have all these blue chips. All these blue chips will go ahead and they're continuously just being pumped up. So the risk is still extraordinarily high. Any individuals who detect a threat early tend to abandon urban areas, prioritizing their own safety over material possessions. The behavior is mirrored by investors who are shifting large sums of money into market funds, now exceeding over $6 trillion, while while the rest is pretty much invested still in stocks and in the stock market. Those who realize the risk too late find themselves trapped in widespread congestion, with many unable to secure last minute refuge. That's the one important one. So, those who realize the risk too late find themselves trapped in widespread congestion, with many unable to secure last minute refuge. like all your hedge funds. They're all trapped. They can't move. Their only hope is for you to sell. That is it. There is no last minute refuge for them. Governments appear to be under the illusion that they can address these challenges using traditional methods. This is reminiscent of the current belief that printing more money can solve financial crises without any negative repercussions, similar to the bailouts of 2008. Those who anticipate the risk prematurely are often not taken seriously. So, as we can use us as an example. So, us who have gone ahead and basically have analyzed our play, have understand our play, and basically understand that, hey, we need to get to a certain point so where we're not on the risk side, we are waiting for them to make their move. They're in a move, they're in a position where they're backed into a corner and you're about to yell out, checkmate. Individuals who detect threats early tend to abandon urban areas, prioritizing their own safety over material possessions. I already said that, and I got to take that out. So, the situation that occurred nearly a year ago with financial institutions like Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, First Republic Bank, and Credit Suisse could be compared to a sudden storm that catches a fleet of ships unprepared. Even though that there were forecasts and signs of approaching tempest, the ships did not fully brace for the impact. As the storm hit, it caused chaos amongst the vessels, with some being capsized by the turbulent waters. Despite the warning, true extent of the danger was not fully recognized until the storm was upon them. This reflects how the financial turmoil caught many off guard despite the warning signs that were present. The past events with the financial institutions like SVB, Signature, uh, FRC, and Credit Suisse are akin to unexpected storm that catches the ships off guard. Despite the signs of the forecast of the severity of the storm was not fully acknowledged until it struck, leading to a disarray of capitalizing some vessels. Continuing with the narrative, when the critical event occurs, markets inflated by the derivatives will collapse, resulting in a rapid evaporation of notional wealth. After the initial upheaval, humanity's instinct to endure will prevail, leading to a period of reconstruction from the ruins. Humans have a natural tendency to overcome adversity and rebuild, which is a testament to our resilience. So, where am I in all this? I am filled with optimism for what lies ahead, to be perfectly honest with you. I am happier than a pig rolling in shit. The ebbs and flow of the economic cycles are but chapters in the grand narrative of humanity's progress. Each bubble in our history is not just a moment of tension, but a prelude to a wealth of opportunities that emerge in its aftermath. To seize these moments, one must stand resilient, eyes open, as the dust of transformation settles. Consider the legacy of the legendary investor Warren Buffett, whose name has become synonymous with enduring success. His legacy was not built on the fleeting thrill of speculation, but on the bedrock of strategic foresight and patience. When the market soars with euphoria, he prepares a war chest, ready to unearth the gems left behind in the aftermath. His philosophy is simple but yet profound. True wealth is built by steering clear of losses and focusing on the long game. So let us ready ourselves for the dawn of a new chapter. The day of reckoning of the market beckons, promising of a fresh horizon of possibilities. It's a time to be present, to witness the birth of a new era rather than be caught in the twilight of one that is passing. Let this be a call to action and an inspiration to embrace the future with courage and conviction. And that's what I have written for all of you. Weedman and then Matt.
Matt, go ahead first. Matt, you can go ahead, man.
Hey, Matt, wake up.
Yo, Roberts, be
Yeah,
quiet,
you
man.
don't know.
All
Got
right. Well,
connection issues.
I just, again, obviously, everyone, hello, and good evening, and all that good stuff. James, I obviously agree with the majority of what was written in that article that you're reading. And what I wanted to
That's
also,
my writing, my friend. That's my
oh, you're
writing,
writing.
my
I'm
friend.
sorry. So,
Yeah.
and what I just wanted to piggyback off of when we're talking about the banks, and I posted it to the Nest, and this is from the New York Fed themselves, and they're speaking about the rising delinquencies that are happening and this is something that I pay very close attention to is the auto industry.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're seeing the rising delinquencies in two major areas, and the sector that is being affected the most are younger and the poor demographic. When you're starting to default on your car and you're starting to default on your credit card, the next thing to go is you're gonna lose both of them. And if you can't have a car to get to work, then you lose your job. If you don't have a job, then you can't pay your mortgage because that's the last thing that people don't pay. So you're seeing these cascading things that are all correlating together. And then in this article itself from the New York Fed, what did they point out? What they always blame these economic downturns and collapses on: poor people, and the next is going to be immigrants. When they did all of this shit to themselves, just like he said in his article that he wrote, throwing ice cream into a fucking room full of 3-year-olds, and they acted like 2-year-olds. So when you see all of these things starting to come to head, especially credit card delinquency and auto loan defaults, it's just a cascade. It's a snowball that rolls down a hill, and it never ends well.
Turns into what is called a doom loop. The actual economic term is called doom loop, and that's where it goes from one market, which is your credit cards, to your auto loans, then to your it actually starts with commercial real estate, then to residential, then credit cards, then auto loans, and it goes in a circle, and it never stops.
And I just wanted to also just mention something about this commercial real estate thing. When you're
Mhm.
taking losses on an investment, it's not as big of a deal to take a 20-30% loss. Okay, that's a big loss, but that's not what's happening here. These guys are taking 80% plus haircuts, sometimes 100%, where they're selling buildings for $1.
Oh, there's two of them. There's two of them in San Francisco that literally sold for $1, and they were millions. I mean, hundreds of millions.
I mean, there was a building, I believe it was in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
These guys took a 90% haircut on a $280 million building.
Blech.
I mean, these are massive losses that you just can't sweep under the rug and say, oh, but look at our profits. No,
There are no
there are
profits.
no profits.
It's all hoopla. It's all bullshit. It's all, like I was saying, it's all fictitious numbers. It's
Look
not
at the
anything that's
revisions on the
factual.
job numbers.
Yeah,
If you don't
actually.
think that if the federal government is making such terrible accounting numbers that they have to constantly revise, you don't think these guys are doing the same?
Hold on. I'll post that up above here in a second.
I think one thing that you're missing from the aspect of them sale losses is from a federal standpoint, the tax obligation to the ownership of that or the lease obligation of that property. So if a bank owns a property and the person currently in it or it's empty and nobody's paying anything towards it, a 90% haircut is a 90% haircut on the value, but you still pay the taxes on the appraisal value. And the sale price has nothing to do with the appraisal tax value that it creates.
Yeah, true.
Great point, dude.
From the tax assessed value. Yeah, you're still missing that, but the tax assessed value to the actual appraisal value is still. I mean, you can go as I've seen them as high as
Right,
40%
right. But it's
difference.
one less obligation that's on the bank's obligation book because at least they're
True.
collecting a back coverage against that cost. The other thing I wanted to add, and there's some confusion here with the rebate term lending ending tomorrow. That doesn't mean that the repo or the emergency lending is closing. It just means that to refinance that lending or roll over on the term, you're going to pay whatever the current rate is. You're not getting that 2%. So there's a 3% value loss instantaneously on the term interest percent of that loan being paid forward. That's where the loss
The
comes
one
in.
problem,
Now the thing about
but the
that
one
is
problem
most
is,
central banks are fine with
I
that.
was going to.
They're already ready for that. It's the regionals that are going to get fucked. And I think they're trying to do international bond swap with the central bank arbitrage to create more liquidity for the central banks for when they have to absorb the balance losses on the regional.
So the one problem is that, and this is what it all stems from, regardless, is who has the money to afford that interest rate raise.
Well, you're not going to eat that interest rate raise if you can swap collateralize it with a fucking 2% Japanese yen central bank rate.
But that's where the bond problem comes into play, especially in China and Japan, who can't sell those bonds. It's impossible. They're worthless. So you're going to take on the worthless bond debt from going ahead and swapping it out?
All right, so let's put it this way. If you buy a U.S. bond from somebody that's paying you 5%, right?
Mm-hmm.
You forward that bond and collateralize it with a 2%. You're only paying 2% of that 5% forward. You got an arbitrage play to keep 3% spread. It's just like a currency swap.
True. I understand that notion of it, but it's still, we either are bonds that the Tinkerbell is literally printing up like they're hotcakes and pancakes.
Right,
She's
and they're
literally
losing
just
buyers.
tossing them.
And if you don't have
Yeah.
participants to buy them, but if you create a volume auction demand through that international central bank currency swap rate difference, you create a swap value difference in the arbitrage.
So now then my question becomes is that who's dumb enough on the outside of them to go ahead and actually purchase them because they know that they're all full of worthless debt.
All right. I would say yes, you're absolutely right. But when you're faced with no choice and you're backed into a corner against a wall and it's the only play left, then you really don't have a choice but to participate.
True, but I still think that there's still common sense involved with it because most of the do you think I mean that's why China said fuck you to us recently and saying, yeah, you know what, you just take this crap, we're not going to be here to help you guys out this time.
Well, China doesn't
Like,
want.
I mean,
China definitely doesn't want any more of our fucking debt bond swap. But at the same time, they're holding a lot of our debt bond swap. So they could literally re-swap that through Japan directly without anything to do with us. So they don't need to be part of
true,
our little system in order to get out of that.
true. I think that's every country is in that problem, so I don't know how they're going to repurchase it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I know what you're
Because,
saying, but I think what's driving me nuts is for the past week, I've been seeing this, rebate term rate ending and what the cause and effect of that is. And I'm looking at it like, okay, yeah, but do you understand there's still a repo market? There's still lending facilities. There's
oh
still
yeah,
TARP. There's still all this other stuff going on. The only difference is 5% where they were getting 2 or 3% as a discount rate. Now at expiration they'll have to reswap, roll it over or whatever if need be. You're getting it for the going rate, which is at that 5% or whatever.
so, but this also leads into the problem with their actual collateral holdings with these regional banks or with even the big players themselves because of the downfall of these particular stocks. Like,
Well, yeah,
I'm
if
not
the
going to be,
underlying crashes below that spread difference, then they lose their
yeah.
collateral asset value, right? But currently, when you're looking at these fucking big sevens that are up 20, 30, 40, 50% in the last 6 months to a year, 15, 20% since the beginning of the year, right? That 3% spread's
Mhm.
not a whole hell of a lot.
No, no, it's not. But for everybody, so that this way, if you guys have an iPhone or whatever, just do me a favor and pull up NVIDIA.
Better yet, pull up Bitcoin. How much Bitcoin do they
You can
have
pull
to?
up Bitcoin too.
How much Bitcoin do you
I'm
really
talk,
have to sell to cover a 3% spread difference on a rollover rate?
I guarantee you it's a lot. I can guarantee you it's a lot. But I mean, I'm going to use this in more so simpler terms, just so everybody can see and understand it. Is if you look at NVIDIA, for example, you know that everybody and their brother has been buying this particular stock. If you look at this, and just from Friday, one, it went from being at a high of 974, it ended up closing out at 875, and then in after hours made another $24 dip
Well, I mean,
in after hours.
the precursor before the storm, it's obviously all the inside CEOs and shit selling off millions of dollars a share before shares before the fucking storm hit. So they know there's going to be
Zuckerberg's
a
been
future
selling like
liquidation, or
$40
they
million
wouldn't be
worth of Meta a day.
right. They're lining their accounts before the hit comes. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what the hit'll be. I'm sure it's going to be pretty significant, but at the same time, they've already built this up enough that I think you'll get a significant hit and it will be market crushing, but at the same time, it won't be, at least from a central bank standpoint, crushing, because even though they're going to crush the markets to pull that liquidity, they're going to be able to pull the liquidity needed in order to kick this can as far as central banks go. Now, what's going to bite them in the ass is when the regionals fall and they have to eat them lateral collateral losses onto their books at the new rate.
Matt, I kind of
Yeah.
subscribe to this theory that there's going to be an extended flash crash. And it's basically going to flush out the bullshit, absorb the small regional banks into larger banks, take on those losses. You're going to see the bullwhip effect, which has already been playing out, carry out a lot longer than necessary. But it's going to be a crash that is going to be significant. But I don't think it's going to be something that is like a decade long or something that drags out or creates, these scenarios that people talk about where it's this end of the world and we're all going back to the Great Depression and cheese lines. I just don't think that's the type of crash.
I'm expecting for Q1 23 on steroids.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And I think
Absolutely.
Q1 23 would have been a lot worse had they not done what they did for the last year to prepare for the total reset of all this financial risk, and for the fallout of all these regional banks. They basically tried to extend the timeline for what should have happened last year so that they're in at least a little bit better of a place to absorb that.
You're referring to the
This
Silicon Valley bank collapse, correct?
Well, all the regional banks, I
well,
think it would have been massive amounts of banks had they not implemented the procedures and emergency liquidity funding and stuff to keep them afloat long enough to create this pump value collateral in order to create a better positioning for absorption.
really what should have happened during 2023 and those banks folding, you should have seen 500 banks go. That's what you should have saw is 500 of those regional banks should have fallen off the face of the earth, and that was it. And you should have never put. Now you're in a position to lose. I would say probably a good third, at least 30% of that
Well, that's
4,000.
what kind of needs to happen anyway. And Powell even kind of said the quiet part out loud. And
He
and,
sure
and so
did.
that's why, again, my thesis is I don't believe this is going to be a long, drawn-out crash. This is something that they've kind of already know needs to happen. It's going to fuck a lot of things up. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that this is going to be something that's just going to be, pigtails and fucking lollipops. But I just don't think it's going to be something that is, the Great Depression type of crash. I just don't believe that.
Now, do you think this is going to
I
be the kind of crash, though, that eats up a lot of these family funds and hedge funds?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I do.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, that's usually the bottom of the barrel that ends up getting hit the worst in these type of, even more so than the regional bank. I mean, we're probably about to see the least amount of hedge funds in the U.S. as a private and public entity than we've probably had in our history. As
Well,
volume
there's
wise.
the amount of hedge funds that exist now versus 20 years ago is astronomical. It's insane the amount of hedge funds there are, and then you take into account the amount of family practices there are, which aren't even regulated the same way that hedge funds are. So these are all things that have been going on for too fucking long, and they all need to go away. And this is the type of event that makes these types of things go away. It's a combination of a multitude of factors that all are coming to a head. You can't, what I posted to the Nest is not just somebody's theory. That's from the federal, like the New York Fed. These are actual real data points. Like people are defaulting. And when you can't pay your car loan, you can't pay the credit card because you need the credit card just to pay for necessities, and that gets maxed out. You lose the car, you lose your job, you lose your house.
The more alarming thing to that, and I'm just going to add to that, and I'm just looking it up to see if they've actually updated this, which it should have been updated, but go ahead, Buckeye, while I'm looking this up.
Sure. Hey, I just want to give a three. I agree with what you guys saying, but a 3-minute clip. This is from February 15th, 2024. It's called Hearing, entitled "Lender of Last Resort: Issues with the Fed Discount Window." It was a hearing that took place, and a lot of people labeled this as an ESG hearing, and it really wasn't. So here's a quick 2 to 3 minute thing. Just listen to what they're saying now. The one guy that's going to speak is this guy named Sherman, who questioned a lot of questions, but no answers yet from the GameStop thing. So here we go. Let me see if I can get this right.
I would point out that you had a management capable of bankrupting the whole institution by its crazy bets in the one entity that they had that wasn't regulated by state insurance commissioners. And in spite of that management wasn't able to bankrupt any of the regulated insurance companies. I think this was the most impressive show of effective state regulation of insurance companies. It also shows that credit default swaps are basically insurance. We can structure my fire insurance policy that if my house burns down, they don't write me a check I just trade my deed for a short-term treasury bill. I guess you'd say, well, then it's not an insurance policy. It's just a no. This is we need to realize that many things we call derivatives are actually insurance. At least we're regulating them better as derivatives. The other thing I'd point out is that there seems to be a tendency among bank regulators to undercount the importance of interest rate risk. $1 million treasury bond issued 25, 30 years ago is worth $600,000 today. Let me just ask Mr. Scott, would the Fed discount window lend more than $600,000 on a $1 million treasury note that had a fair market value of $600,000? Will they lend more than current fair market value?
Well, not only would they did. From the bank term facility program, once they put this program in place, they valued securities not at their market value, but at their par value. They were
wow. And this is kind of an uncongressionally authorized bailout when a bank can go to the government and say, I have an asset that everybody in economics understands is worth $600,000, and you're going to loan me $1 million against it. I remember TARP, we had to authorize that here in Congress. So the Fed does lend money on assets based on the myth that it's worth more than you can sell it for.
Not only did they do that,
what?
Congressman, but under the discount window, which was not the BTFP facility, that was 13.3, the Fed is not required to have collateral. Okay? It's not required. They only need to have collateral to their satisfaction.
Gotcha.
I think
I need to spend the rest of my time focusing on the Federal Home Loan Bank. There's this attitude that somehow it's a red flag, although in our area we've seen J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, Bank of America be major borrowers. Is it a red flag for an institution? Does it symbolize that they're not solvent to borrow from the Federal Home Loan Banks? Yeah, Mr. Scott.
You can cut that off
I think they're borrowing from the home loan banks, as Bill Nelson said, to manage their assets and liabilities on an ongoing basis. So I don't think they're borrowing from the Federal Home Loan Banks is actually as much seen as a stigma as they would be borrowing.
Yeah, Buckeye, you're good with that.
Bill may want to comment on that.
Hey, Buckeye, can you hear James?
I can now. Sorry, I had to put my phone on. I go off Bluetooth and then go on to whatever. So that was
So that's exactly what I was going over. What he was saying is basically what the banks are doing now is that they're borrowing from the Federal Home Loan Bank, and they did update from Q3, which was above $2 quadrillion that was in there in Q3, which is now down to 786.
Yeah. The key was the fact that they loaned out money on par value, not real value.
Correct.
And
there's 2 points there. The first one I want to make is that their asset collateral risk value at the Fed is basically backed by debt ceilings. So, I mean, they can pretty much do whatever they're authorized debt-wise by Congress and bills or debt spending. Second, he's right in the devaluation of the mortgage contract on a 20-year bond collateral scale, except that rates for them contracts are adjusted term-wise on the current collateral value of the asset that the bond that the debt swap bond is collateralized against. So, yeah, a $100,000 house in the 80s might be worth 6 times at a depreciation value of the dollar at 10 times. So there's like a 4x difference in value. But how many people, what's the average time that people actually spend in a mortgage contract before they upgrade their house, sell the house, buy a new house, create a new term contract
4 years.
as they grow?
4 years.
So to go buy a 20-year bond swap or a 10-year bond swap against an equity term loan mortgage, like, isn't really accurate when you consider the life of the term of the actual mortgage underlying it.
Most of the time, the average household, on average, in the United States, that from the time that they purchase their house to the time that they either refinance it, upgrade, or do like a cash out refinance, is roughly around 4 years. And the reason for that is because values are constantly changing.
Right. And especially going to have a high rollover, maybe not till after 25, but when they actually do start to lower the rate, you're going to see a lot of these contracts get refinanced for lower rates.
Yes, you will. But I don't think that the time that they have right now in regards to the actual rates are going to be going down anytime
No, that's
soon, in
what
my
I
opinion.
said. Not till at least 26. And even then, it's not going to be significant enough to create a valuable, cost effective way
No.
to finance it. Of what, a quarter rate drop? So you're
Yeah.
probably not looking till probably 2028 to 2030 before you see that happen. Now, could the banks survive that? Depending on liquidity they can create in order to roll out that margin cost, roll over the curve.
I highly doubt that they could survive that long. There's just no way. From an interest rate standpoint, and they still haven't, listen, they still haven't
No,
fixed the
the
inflation.
regionals. I
Inflation.
mean, when they absorb them contracts off the defunct regionals like New York Community Bank, who couldn't even get past
Yeah.
a year on the absorption of the whichever fucking California bank was that one. So it's sure.
Signature. Buckeye.
Yeah, one other point. This is a group of three people. This guy talking now is going to be Professor Simon Johnson. And this is like a quick, like 20-second one. So give me a second here to get this right.
It's a little more awkward, and I'm sorry that I need to bring this up. But you mentioned Bear Stearns, Mr. Chairman, and I think that is a good parallel and important historical example. And I'm sure you and others will remember that at the time the Fed provided support to the transaction, which was the purchase, ultimately JP Morgan Chase was able to buy Bear Stearns. A senior executive of JP Morgan Chase was on the board of the New York Fed, and the New York Fed was instrumental in designing and in implementing that transaction. Now, I understand that the governance in the Federal Reserve System is complicated. We can talk about that. I know the Board of Governors ultimately has overriding authority, and I know that's true particularly with regard to bank supervision. But it is a very unfortunate fact that Mr. Becker, who previously mentioned, who was still the CEO of Silicon Valley Bank in March 2023, is sitting on the board of the San Francisco Fed. This doesn't look good. It may just be an optics problem, but it really doesn't look good. It's not good for the Fed, and it's not good for any of these technical fixes or any of the other, all the political support they need to remove the stigma problem, for example. So I understand Dodd-Frank attempted to address this. I know steps were taken. I understand there were 2 Class A and B and C directors of the Federal Reserve Bank, but I really think that member banks should no longer sit on the board of directors of member banks.
I don't know what he was talking about.
He was just talking about the Silicon Valley Bank CEO
Okay.
was on
Hmm.
the San Francisco Fed board.
And the New York Fed board?
No, Bear Stearns, when that got turned over to J.P. Morgan, the guy that was on the board there for J.P. Morgan was also on the board for New York Fed.
Okay, interesting.
It-
That's bad juju.
it's
They audited their own Fed lending authorization against
it,
bad assets, which led to
it,
the
so
bankruptcy.
basically, what it's proving is nothing was ever changed from 2008, and the can was just kicked down the road. And here we are.
Here you are about to have another major fallout of banks because y the Fed's insolvent. Plain and simple. Unfortunately, they have to raise rates. They have to collect money. They don't have none. They lost it all through. I swear it's the Pentagon CPAs that keep on saying, "Oh, I lost this, $10 trillion. I don't know what happened to it." Well, I don't know. It's the same
H-
shit.
How many real estate moguls do you think are out there sitting on a shit ton of cash just waiting for this flash crash to buy up properties?
Oh, I know of one who has like $160 billion in cash. His name's Warren Buffett, and he owns Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah.
So, right now, I think real estate, yes, is in trouble, but at the same time, there's going to be a shit ton of money pumping into that on that flash crash discount price with no need to borrow, right? And just pick it up for cheap for future gain.
I mean, that's why he is Warren Buffett, considering that he's going to pick up the scraps, and the scraps is what's going to continue to make him billions.
Hey
I
James,
mean, that's why. Hmm,
just to let you know, I've been selected.
what you shot who in the what now? What's up, Leach?
I'm driving, so it might cut in and out, man. I'll say when I stop.
Okay, gotcha.
And if you don't
But I
think
mean,
that
that's why we're.
it's going to be billionaires and large real estate companies and conglomerates that are going to gobble up these houses, just look at what I posted up to the nest that Kobayashi letter posted out earlier today. It's almost double the amount of your salary to be able to own a home now, according to Zillow. You need to make $109,000 a year to be able to afford a home. Well, that's pretty odd because the average income in the United States is around $48,000 a year. So who's going to buy these houses? Is it going to be you? No. Is it going to be me? No. It's going to be people who have billions of dollars in cash, these CEOs who've been cashing out at the top of the market, or what they saw as the top of the market for them, when they're just sitting there waiting at their cash to gobble it all up. It's almost like they planned it.
Yes, and also yes.
I can agree to disagree, and the only reason that I'm going to disagree, the only reason that I would disagree with that is because one, here comes Rocket Mortgage. This past Friday, Rocket Mortgage terminated like their whole division in new home purchases. Whole division. Now, last time I checked, I believe that they had 33,000 employees over there. They just wiped out at least 8,000 of them.
Now, how much of that has to do with Frannie Mae creating that pre-authorization policy for Fed house rollout?
I mean, I bet you that's probably a big, huge chunk of why they did that, but still, this is Rocket Mortgage is the one of the number one lenders or brokers, I should say, um, in the United States.
And also how much of it has to do with the recent case that happened that found a bunch of real estate brokers who had inflated their commission rates on customers in the throes of billions of dollars.
Well, see, Rocket Mortgage doesn't carry, it doesn't do the actual, you know, they're not the ones that are actually showing you the home. They're the ones that are basically lending the paper. So I don't think they had much to do with it. The only thing that they were involved in that I know of per fact is that they were signing on real estate agents to basically, we like Rocket Mortgage would give them like leads for them going ahead and showing them and using them as the lending.
Hey, didn't the National Association of Realtors get sued? Has that gone into fruition of exactly what they were doing? You know, because I was actually looking into that, and after the lawsuit happened, that I think it was going to cost them up to like I think it was $2.7 billion, you know, in losses because of they were doing some criminal stuff with realtors the way that you're saying. You know, who's to say that like I said, everybody was just washing each other's hands, with this
And
thing. And
Bleach, that lawyer, after they won that case, and this is me paraphrasing him, but he said this is just the beginning.
Oh
There
yeah.
are so many more.
my God. Go ahead, Roberts. But you don't gotta wait
What's
for
up,
me, man.
Robert?
So when with James, when you're talking about Rocket Mortgage, when they're the one that's writing the papers, so they're writing the contracts, they're the ones that are actually giving out the money.
No, they're not writing the contracts. They're just writing the mortgage.
They're writing the mortgage. That's all they're doing. So they don't have anything to do with any part of the contract as it's being written up, other than just signing the mortgage.
No, they probably passed
Correct.
forward to J.P. Morgan.
Because they have to see the commission that the broker is making on the actual sale of the house, don't they?
So on a closing, like, and I'll use Illinois for an example. Like Illinois is an attorney state. So if it's an attorney state, the attorneys are the ones that are reading the closing packages to both the seller and the buyer.
Yeah,
That's
that's
that.
super weird, James, because here
Don't
Jersey
forget
split
Don't
it.
Keller
brokers
Williams.
collect most of their commission?
Jersey split into two.
Don't
Hold on.
brokers
Well,
collect
okay.
most of their commission from the buyer of the swap contract?
I mean, the commissions are paid out by whoever's purchasing the property.
And
Yo,
Keller Williams paid like a big fine off of that whole settlement. They didn't even bother fighting it in court.
Well, they
The
couldn't.
mortgage
Their hands were behind their
say
back. Hold on, Bleach. Say what you're
nah,
gonna
say you're
say.
guilty when you're guilty. Nah, but I'm saying that Roberts, man, he had his hand up, and we all interrupted him. So go ahead, Roberts.
Oh,
I'm just saying real quick. Look up in the news. Japan's already having payment problems with their banks and the ATMs. So it's already the 11th there. Today it's the 10th here. So they're already having problems.
dun, 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 dun. Sorry.
But yeah, it's happening as it is, and it's going to start in Japan, like I was said, and it's going to go all over the place next.
It's called contagion. Who likes that word? I love it. It's one of my new favorite words, contagion.
Yeah, it'll be
Because
Japan.
boy, it's gonna spread.
It'll be Japan or Brazil, one of the two.
Well, Japan it is.
And Japan wins by a mile. What's up, Matt?
So, well, now I'm kind of stuck between two subjects, but from the liquidity aspect you're talking about, as far as withdrawing, next to fall as a result of that will be SoFi payments. So paychecks will start defaulting. Anyhow,
Oh yeah.
aside from that, like when you have a bank is basically just two banks, buyer, seller,
Mm-hmm.
as creating a mortgage contract between the buyer and the seller and collecting the closing costs in that contract. That's how they make their money, right? Then they make the interest value they make. They basically have to forward that interest through the sale of the contract to, say, a J.P. Morgan, Solite, or Rocket, and Rocket probably forwards his derivative swap basket to J.P. Morgan.
How it
And
works is
J.P. Morgan goes to the
how it
Fed
works
to
is
create the.
here.
Go
Hold
ahead.
on. So on a purchase of a home, and just to explain that to you, and I'll use Michigan as the example in this one. Michigan is a two titled state, meaning that your seller and your buyer both have their own title company. Everything is going to come from the title company, and from the title company, then it will go to that bank, and then from the bank back to the title company to go ahead and distribute, closing checks. Just as an example, the title companies are the intermediaries between.
Right. And the real estate agent gets a commission payment from the banks that are acting on behalf of the buyer, the seller in the closing of that. And then the bank gets a volume commission from whoever they're selling the basket swap to.
Correct. And then afterwards, for the bank to go ahead and make their money back, and this is through basically your, it's called you'll know it as a goodbye letter during that time when you are waiting for you to make your first payment on your mortgage. Normally, if you used a broker like Rocket or Mr. Cooper, um, who's another one? Anyway, during that period, that's when your bank is going to go ahead and sell that to a servicer. The reason why they're doing it is because that spread that they can make is up to 6%.
Now, to
And
take it
that's a,
one further step up the pyramid in that derivative swap basket, all them mortgages, when the central banks need liquidity, they basically sell that derivative swap bond to the government for liquid cash in order to funnel that cash back down to create further
yep,
liquidity for oil and real estate sale. The Fed then takes them swap basket derivatives, wraps them, collateralizes them on bond debt, and then goes to auction with the bonds to resell that debt for liquidity back from auction value at an interest forward payment rate. So when you have
correct.
other countries lowering their rates, you're creating an arbitrage international swap value for bond swap.
Yep, yep. But that's the problem. That's where the problem lies.
But internationally, you don't want to cash out them U.S. swap bonds to your currency because it's inflationary on your own economy.
Mm-hmm.
So they in turn swap them bonds for that they're getting for exporting, right? Which is the whole drive
Mm-hmm.
for international bond markets is we pay them our debt bonds in lieu of cash for imports, and we get screwed every time on international import export rates, right? Because we
Mm-hmm.
wanted to outsource and import everything so that we could export dollars through bonds, because then the countries collateralize them bonds to get them off their books by buying gold with them. And the gold
Correct.
sits in Europe and the US in vaults and never moves. But when they don't trust the bonds, right, and they're collateralized at a gold value that they can't physically hold, and they don't trust it, they start demanding delivery of their gold.
Yep. In other words, a big fucking problem. Because people are going to start demanding gold.
The last time we had that problem, our federal government passed a law that it was illegal to own gold, and anybody caught possessing gold could get federally prosecuted, and everybody had to go to their nearest central bank and turn in any physical gold they held.
Mm-hmm. I can see that happening again. I can definitely see
Well,
that
I mean,
happening again, for sure.
unless they think they can get away with delivering rocks to China and Japan, I would suggest they
Well,
start
I highly
finding
doubt they
gold.
can. Well, I swear I put it in here. No, you sent me rocks. No, I'm pretty sure there's gold in there. These are just rocks painted as gold.
Yeah, DuPont's gold paint has suddenly gone up in price and demand. I wonder why.
What is the price of gold right now?
It was
Pushing
just jumping a little bit ago.
Almost 2,200.
Yeah, it's going up. So silver.
the new
It's beginning to look a
silver.
lot. Whoa.
Silver past 25, didn't it?
I don't know about 25. I saw 24 and change somewhere.
Maybe I saw that and thought it was going to push the 25. Because usually when it starts getting near that 25, it crosses that, goes between 25 and 27.
No, it's 24, 24. That 25 is a key area right there that they do not want this past. Look, I mean, silver is, in my opinion, going to be one of the huge movers that you'll see when the shit really hits the fan. When you look at when the first news hit about Country Garden going under, silver shot through the fucking roof and immediately came right back down. That is what I'm waiting to, and I watch very closely, is gold and silver. More importantly, those silver. Because I think when you see the dump in Bitcoin, that's where everyone's going to run. If the dump comes from crypto, where everyone's running, if it's the big seven, if it's crypto, if it's the altcoins, when you see silver take off, that's when I think you see all of the shit really hit the fan.
I just looked and wanted to verify it myself. But yeah, the last time the silver last high was right in the 2020, midpoint, first, second quarter point. And it's the only thing out of all these things that haven't hit a new high in that 21 and after era.
Well, Matt, you actually
So
have to
it's
go all
being
the way back.
heavily.
You got to go back to 1980
I'm talking about like since COVID highs.
because adjusted
Like you
for
see all this
inflation,
stuff hitting new highs, but silver did.
yeah, because adjusted for inflation, the all-time high on silver is $179. So I mean, that's why you saw that huge spike back in October, I believe it was. I'm not looking at a chart right now, but you can see that spike, and that's when that Country Garden news hit, and it ran up. I believe it was up over $100, and that was a flash up. So again, I mean, it's just I've always had my eye on silver and gold because even if there is, let's say, this whole global fucking Kabbalah, the tinfoil hat theory of, CBDC and fucking one payment system, well, it's got to be backed by something. And the only store of value that we've ever had on this planet is silver, gold, palladium, and diamonds because they're finite. They're not mining nuggets of gold anymore. They're mining dust. Now we're mining a decent amount of it, but it's not mined in the way that it was mined in the 1800s, in the early 1900s.
Are we able to call it spice?
Yeah, it's pretty much what it is.
You know what's crazy, Weed man? That surprisingly enough, like my little brain, it's actually was saying the same thing that you're saying right now. I mean, if people believe that the United States doesn't have any gold or anything of that measure, I mean, they're they're highly mistaken because, like, I mean, look at every other country, like the top countries, I guess. What have they been doing? Stockpiling in on gold and any other material like that, like gold, silver, anything like that. Why? Because, like I said, in my belief, the same thing that you just said, basically, to put it simply, they're gonna destroy the what we know as the currency today, and they're gonna basically elude people to say, here, we're moving into this because we're backing it with gold. It's gonna be a better economy because of this, and that. And then the money that exists today basically is not gonna be existing anymore. It has no value. See, hence.
Let me correct what I was saying. I'm not saying U.S. and Europe and their vaults don't have gold. I'm saying they collateralized and sold that gold that they're sitting on through paper contracts. and that even though they still own the gold through contract, that gold can be claimed, sort of like an option exercise, right? So when people start claiming their rights to that gold based on collateral contract value, right, and they demanding that you not just move it in your vault as a right to claim, that they're going to actually exercise their right to claim and have that fucking shit at whatever cost it is put on a boat and shipped to the collateralized owner.
But
And
what
I
about,
think
Matt,
that
the
they
gold
short
that you
sold
didn't
the
pay
amount of
for?
gold that they have. Huh?
What about the gold you didn't pay for? You didn't even have to mine. Because if everyone, I don't know if everyone in this room is aware or not, but there are plenty of photographic references to the amount of gold that the United States military just stumbled upon when they were liberating the people of Iraq. What happened to that gold? How does that get put on the books, and how does that have to be collateralized?
That just gets put in somebody's pocket. Don't worry about that.
Well, hold on, because gold that's located or found as a result of, say, World War II or World War One or all this bullshit like the German gold that gets found has rightful owners, and it's not the U.S. So that gold was stolen from these countries by Hitler from rightful parties of that gold, and it gets returned based on the gold that got stolen at the time that it was stolen. So it's not like that gold isn't already spoken for.
So, what about all the gold that's sitting in Swiss banks that was ripped out of the teeth of Jews during the Holocaust? Did that gold get returned?
That's back to Jews, just like all the artwork when they find it goes back to the rightful country of
But
origin.
it's never gone back. It's still sitting in the bank in Switzerland.
It still has a
It still
rightful owner
has
tag to it.
swastikas stamped on it.
Those Germans were smart.
If the Germans still owned it,
No, the Swiss
they could have
bank
put
owns it.
swastikas.
It's never been
They
returned.
don't own it. Possession isn't ownership.
That's a new thing. Is that one of them new laws that they've
When I go to
created?
my neighbor, steal his car and park it in my driveway, it's not my car.
I'm confuzzled.
You need to have the title to that car for it to be your car. Just because you can park it in your driveway doesn't make it yours. The car that you
Oh yeah.
drive, if you have a fucking car payment on that car, you don't own the car. The bank does till you pay for it. They have a note of ownership on that car. Just like the note of ownership, whether Swiss is holding it or the fucking Chicago fucking gold reserve is holding it, or the London bank is fucking holding that gold, it's marked with paper as owned by somebody else. That in a paper futures trade swap collateralized finance system, ownership is not ownership. Possession is not ownership. The paperwork of ownership is ownership regardless of who's in possession.
That is that is truth. Here, I'm gonna put that up there because that is truth if I've ever seen it before. Hold on.
That's why you're required to have insurance against the lien, so that if you fuck that shit up on the bank, that they have something of a collateral value to show for that obligation of ownership that you owe to them for that collateral value.
Yeah,
That's why bond
look,
notes are insured.
I've
That's
been
why warrants are insured.
Have you been down the rabbit hole of Merker's treasure?
Actually, I never heard of
The Merker's mine. That's where just throw Merker's mine gold into a Google search, and that there's no need to go into it right now.
Yeah.
Another example out there is our Civil War. The fucking rebel gold. First thing the fucking feds did after they beat the South was confiscate all the fucking gold collateral value of the Confederate currency.
There's just a lot of countries.
Other than that,
There's just a lot of
which shipped and sank and lost and hid that couldn't be found.
there's a lot of
Which there's
countries that have
treasure hunters out.
claims on the gold from the Merker's mine. I think it's still going on.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm trying to see if there's anything else going on in silver. I'm interested to see what happens with that. I'm also I'm really interested to see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a very interesting day.
The one country that has a lot of physical gold in its ownership is not because the central bank or the government owns it themselves. It's because their people within the country own it, which gives them access to that asset value. Is India.
Didn't India just take a shit dive the other day?
I don't know, but Nvidia's
Well, they're
down four
not.
and a half percent in 24-hour trading on Robinhood.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody needed liquidity going into Monday for swaps.
Well,
I mean, add to that, if they did 1 year swaps on their failure of March of 23, and they got out of bankruptcies like some of these other venture capitals and banks and stuff and regionals, their terms are coming due on their 1 year rollover kick the can of last year. And now they're going to be forced against that liquidity loss that they didn't go bankrupt last year to a 3% collateral cost on rollover value.
yikes.
Which means liquidation of assets to create that different spread that they didn't have last year and now are obligated to find this year.
Well, let's just add more to the problems.
I'm just seeing a bunch of stuff from 2008 coming due 15 years later.
Well, yeah, it's 2008, 15 years later. 2017 plus 5 takes you to 22, plus 3 takes you to 2021, right? So you got 1, 3, and 5, and 15. You got 2000 to 2020 got rolled over in 2020, right? The last .com tech bubble, whatever you want to call it. So you have 2000, 2009, 8, whatever, 2010, 2013, 2017, 2020, 2022, all rolling into short term lending since 2020 terms because they didn't know what the economy was look like going forward. So they weren't taking, 10, 20 years. That's why the demand and the auction volume was down on that and why they became inverted, right? So now you have 1, 3, and 5 years that were rolled out of the previous 10, 15 years coming due. Now you got the other 10, 15, 20 years coming due at the same time as all this short term shit that got rolled over since 2020, all coming due at the same time at a 3% increase, probably around.
Robert, are we in Contagion?
Oh, yes, we are.
Security, how long
What?
have I been preaching about the culmination of all these bond terms coming due at the same time?
Since I've known you. Like, I mean, we've been talking about this for fucking 3 years. I mean, yeah, it's yeah,
I mean, that was
collapsing
the
and
whole reason they had to create the emergency discount fund rate.
yeah, they had to. I it's they've
A
had to
lot of
create.
problems.
Yeah, they've had to create massive amounts of problems to try and withhold this. I I am. This is not correct in my opinion, but I'm gonna post it up
I
above
mean, the
anyway.
Fed did need $270 billion in security swap value because they wanted to.
Oh, you know, they just oopsies. It's just oopsies. We'll take Munces and say it's oopsies. They're gonna do what they want. I mean, listen, as long as they can get the lie right, they will do whatever they possibly can. But they have to get the lie right.
Well, they need
That's
to
the
put
magic
Yellen
word.
on crack and go on overdrive with their fucking fairy dust because they need a lot more of that than she's putting out.
Uh, This is why I think that bail-ins are going to be a low solution.
Hey, wasn't Munchkin Stephen? I can't pronounce his last name. Mnuchin, the same guy that was involved in the 2019 flash crash in August. The guy that just bought uh, New York Community Bank.
He was one of them.
So, did anyone looking further? Like, what else? Like, New York Community Bank had a impairment charge from before 2008. Was that part of the savings and loan crisis? How did that all happen? Was it just
New York,
was that
New
just part
York
of?
Community Bank, New York Community Bank's biggest problem is New York policy.
Well, no.
Them
If you
lenders
look into
being able to
if you
raise.
look into Wikipedia though, they're part of Flagstar. They're part of savings and loans and shit that they bought in 2000
Right.
and through 2007, and they're part of the Ohio savings and loan scandal. There's a bunch of stuff involved in that. I don't know, like there's just a
Their
bunch of stuff.
absorption of is a different aspect
So
than their own. Like
what pushed them over the edge?
Flagstar and New York Community Bank are a conglomerate of two different
Well,
entities.
what
Flagstar
pushed it over the edge?
took on
Because nothing, like, everyone's just kind of swimming along, everything's fine. But what pushed them over the edge?
the fact that the New York leases aren't being paid because the landlords can't raise the rate for rent on the buildings that's costing them more than they're collecting
Was it
because of
the
New York
leases,
policy.
or was it something else?
Multifamily rentals. Huge
5 units or
buildings,
more.
multifamily rentals
But didn't that push
can't
them? Didn't that
raise.
push them into a new category when they had to absorb signatures?
Yes, when they went over the 100 million assets
And
under
that
management or
and
whatever,
that's
they
what.
had higher margin
And
requirements, and they were
who
already
pushed them into that?
under.
Who pushed them into that 100 million or 100 billion category?
when when their flag whatever bank absorbed all the losses from
Well, that
uh,
was
uh,
Signature. That was
Signature
and
Bank,
that was
right?
part of
That put their assets under management
that was
over the 100 million, which created a higher margin
well, that was
requirement.
last year, basically a year ago.
Right, but that was before the full realized losses against New York Community Bank, already bad portfolio that was unrealized under the current
Right,
liquidity
but who
due
who
to
pushed
loss of
who
liquidity over
took Sig
the last fourth
who
quarter.
took Signature Bank and said, New York Community Bank, you're taking all of Signature's bullshit and we're shoving it down your throat? Who did that?
Probably the
They
Fed.
the Fed boosted them with liquidity in order to take that, and they probably
was it the
forced them to
DTCC?
take that.
I don't know.
The DTCC does not do that. The Fed is the one that would do that. The Fed would
They
also back
auction it
them with some
off, and they
sort of
take the
collateral.
best. They take the best offer.
I don't think they were.
They
I don't
do an
think they had a
auction.
choice.
They do a silent bid, and they take the best bid offer that
Mm,
costs the Fed the less amount of liquidity provision,
no, I don't think they had a
and then that
choice.
entity.
I think someone purposely.
No, they absolutely no. They absolutely have a choice because it's the same thing. And I'll give you UBS as a perfect example of them absolving Credit Suisse,
You,
and you had upper parliament that gave them a $250 billion
mm,
what's it called, credit
no,
line,
the upper
Now
and
you
and
that's
also have
lower
to
literally
remember is that
parliament had a fight, and there was no one that wanted
you
that.
also have to
no lower
remember when they
parliament.
took.
No, lower parliament was outruled by upper parliament because for them to take over that deal, they had to agree to that's why UBS agreed to it, is because upper parliament said that, and because upper parliament said that, they had to go buy it.
Mm, well, eh,
Want to add too, Community Bank of New York, Bancorp, did not assume the venture capital risk books when they assumed the bank. They went to someone else. I forget who, but they weren't taking all of the liability losses, all of the entities of that bank when they absorbed it. Somebody else took that on. I'm not sure who.
no, they slammed all Signature Bank into New York Community Bank, and
No,
there was no
there were
other.
asset book value. Oh wait, no, I know who did it. The Fed. The Fed ate some of the security books losses on their own balance sheets so that they
That
wouldn't
was
be assumed by.
that was March
That was part
20th,
of the
right?
liquidity fund.
And who do you remember who was on the Signature of New York board? Nice airplane.
Last year, put a
Yes, that
new
was my
CEO.
airplane.
And in November, that CEO already resigned. It didn't even last a year.
No, who was on the board for Signature?
I'm
No idea.
terrible.
Do you guys
Yeah.
remember a guy named Barney Frank?
Yeah.
Okay,
No, I
I
don't.
remember
throw him into
from
Google.
that. Yeah, you're right.
Just throw him into Google. That's
It's
What do
literally
you
where
have
the
on it?
Dodd-Frank bill came from. Barney
yes,
Frank was
thank
a
you.
fantastic.
That's right. I remember reading that. Too much, too much DD over too many years to fucking pull it all off the top of my head.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this is a complicated for anyone listening. This web that's been wove is extremely complicated. You've got a fraction of crypto. You've got some bank people that have been playing this game for forever. I mean, I'll go back to the Solomon Brothers with their big swinging dicks, and it just keeps going on and on and on. And so they kept kicking the can, kicking the can, and if you just kind of look just a little bit under the leaves, under the tea
Reminded me
leaves,
too
you'll
of
see that nothing was fixed, nothing was changed, and they bitch about all kinds of different things. One of the ones that you're hearing about is this ESG and Basel III endgame. Well, the Basel III was part of 2008 fix. That was the fix. That was the big conference in Pittsburgh in 2010.
it was an idea for a fix, but it never got
Well, no,
implemented. They've been kicking the can
they
for
kept pushing
fucking
it.
20
They
years.
they
Yeah.
kept pushing. Oh no,
Well, they kept revising.
right, and then it was supposed to be implemented in like 2019, and it got pushed to 2020, and then it got pushed to, because of COVID, it got pushed to 2022, and it got implemented in 2023, and now they're bitching about it still. So that this isn't something that was a surprise. Um, they knew that the chick was pregnant.
And then what do you do when you run out of ideas, when you run out of holes and rugs to toss shit over, and you've stubbed your toe from kicking the can so many times? Well, you create these shit, what are they called? The coin securities or tokenized securities. This is the newest game that they play, is these tokenization of everything.
Yep, and that's the list that we got from Dog with Hat, 57 different tickers that were tokenized. And some of them are actually still trading on Coinbase. And that whole part of it is just, I mean, it'll blow your mind when it just going through it all is very difficult, absolutely, to try to comprehend.
The fact that it's still trading is the part that I can't wrap my head around at all.
Because it's an alternative financial instrument. So basically, it's just a side bet contract paper that's being passed around at different values in order to keep a created value on something that's absolutely worth zero.
Yeah, but the question is like, where's the tape? Who's trading this shit?
Right.
Dark markets, dark pool.
Isn't it kind of the one institution basically trading the security back and forth to itself to maintain a value on that security without ever actually having to go to market value?
Correct. Ping pong. Just ping ponging your price back and forth, so it doesn't have to ever collect value on it.
Yeah, I equate it too, like, because this is how I grew up. My friend in the passenger seat, my friend in the back seat when I was driving, kicking the 12 pack underneath the seat while the cop was approaching the car, and there's beer cans flying everywhere.
My other analogy is it's like a ghost bidder at an auction who ain't seeing the value he wants for his product, so he's bidding it up himself. Gets stuck with his own product because he don't want to let somebody else own it the price, and then just loses the commission fee on the sale to himself of that product.
So again, to me, a lot of this stuff goes all the way back to what we were talking about earlier with the loans, and they were in the testimony that was provided on February 15th of this year. They were marking them as par. So if you had $1 million building, you're getting a loan off the $1 million building. And they went out and leveraged that probably 10x. And how do you, like, they know this. They all know this. They've seen it. This was in recorded testimony just a couple of weeks ago. So how does this get fixed? I'm just looking for solutions.
Your solutions is something that you'll never get, and that's just because of what we have in our system, unfortunately.
So, like, what's the next move?
The next move is the same move that you have in an orchard when trees have become overgrown and oversaturated with fruit that has turned to spoil. You slash and burn.
Wait, wasn't that an Adam Aaron tweet? Does anyone have goosebumps yet with the apple orchards? Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember the tweet?
No.
All he said was AMC theaters. He responded to a bunch of apple orchards in Pennsylvania that had rotting fruit.
Oh, absolutely. I do remember that. Wow, my analogy just worked very well there.
Yeah, I thought that's what you're talking about.
No, I really wasn't.
Oh my gosh. Well, there's a tweet out about it, and Adam Aaron went to this small school called Harvard twice.
It's amazing what happens. Memory just clicks on. Hey, I remember that. It worked.
Do you know why they did that?
Mm-mm.
All right, so
Go ahead and
here's how
explain.
fruit goes to wholesale auctions where manufacturers buy the fruit in order to make food products, go to the grocery store. If you have too much product, you crash the price of that auction, wholesale auction value for the suppliers to buy, right? And it becomes to a point where the price isn't valued to the cost of manufacture and harvest. Plus, you have the the liability value of the future contracts on the sale of that product. So, with any of these products, harvest is based on a future pricing, right? So, companies contract for delivery on product when it's ready for deliver at what they call a future cost basis, right? Now, if the future cost basis is going to be crashed by an oversupply, they need to diminish that supply in order to realize profit of the future contract payment for that supply. So when you go into the grocery store and apple juice is inflation priced because they fucking destroyed shit tons of crops of apples because they already had an agreed future price that they didn't want to fucking undercut through oversupply. They destroyed the product to meet that cost demand.
Up above, real quick. Here's my theory of why Nvidia is going to fall.
Just real quick,
Singapore steps up.
it's cheaper to pay the
Mhm.
farmers to destroy the crop than it is to eat the losses on the future payments to have them harvest and actually deliver an oversupply. You'll eat
Oh,
more losses on.
absolutely.
Interesting that you say that. I'll say that after I'm done with this. But Singapore steps up scrutiny of China's wealth after money laundering case. Wonder why. GPUs, GPUs. But the state of Kentucky is now going ahead and they are going to try and basically have an on and off switch for cattle. I don't know why. It sounds very interesting to me. I don't know why they would do that
Say
because
that
they're
again?
trying to storm. Yeah, the state. Hold on one second. I'm gonna pull that up. I'll post it up above here in a second. I'll just search it. Kentucky cattle.
The reason why I'm asking you to say that again is because I worked at a meat processing plant. I worked in the fucking third biggest meat plant in the world for beef, national beef. They own their own farms. They own their own cattle. They own the processing plant and the fucking packaging for commercial retail, right?
So
So
the
I
government is
don't
trying to
understand.
sneak
Like, where's the
here.
Fed?
The government is trying to sneak the Here, the government is trying to sneak this $15 million funding to start electronic tagging for cows and bison in Kentucky. Mandating electrical tags for cattle is the beginning of an end of the American rancher. The cattlemen in Kentucky know this ain't just another expense for them because this is an on and off switch that will prevent farmers from marketing their cattle if they're not in compliance. It's the beginning of the end of the American rancher. It's the beginning of the end of multi generational farms in Kentucky.
No, because the only way you'll be able to market and make money is to sell your farm out to corporate beef suppliers like National
Yep.
Beef, Tyson, and the such. So your farm, you will no longer own your own private farm. You will be incorporated into these huge entities to create a consolidation of supply.
Wow. Everything's going bye bye. Everything that you knew that was right. Everything you knew that you could do, any way that you can make money, here
Well,
is the government
Kentucky's a
that's going
crooked
to
ass
take it
state. I
away.
see them try that in Texas
Good luck.
or
Good.
Oklahoma or Wyoming. Or Kansas. Kansas farms are already fucking corporate owned anyway, most part.
Well, just take away everything. Seems that way. Seems like it's,
I mean, they're
you
doing
know,
the same thing with milk in the Amish.
I don't know how they could get away with that.
they're basically stopping Amish from fucking privately commercial selling their milk. They're basically saying they can't
That
because they don't meet the Food and Drug Administration parameters of production. So they can basically only farm their own milk for their own community.
I didn't mute.
Yeah, they basically. I just discovered this the other day because I've been looking for unpasteurized milk, and it's illegal to sell unpasteurized milk in the District of Columbia. It's illegal to sell it in Maryland. And Pennsylvania is the only state near me where I would have to drive to find unpasteurized milk. And if you're not aware of why milk is pasteurized, it's because of the insane industrial farming that they now use to produce the majority of milk that is made at grocery stores. And the reason that they have to pasteurize it is the same reason that they have to load these cattle with antibiotics, is because the way that they raise this cattle is inhumane towards the cattle. This is not natural for the cattle, the way that they're housed, nor is it natural for them to be fed a grain that is never part of their natural diet, which is corn. So they constantly have infections in their udders during this milking process. But there are so many cattle to be monitored that a little bit of that pus gets into your milk every once in a while. And that's why it's pasteurized. And that's why they're loaded with antibiotics. If you've never seen the documentary Food Inc., I highly encourage you to watch it. If you've never seen the documentary The Corporation, I highly encourage you to watch it. These are valuable tools of information for you to make better decisions on what you consume on a day-to-day basis. There's a reason why I went organic 25 years ago. It's because I saw what was happening in the food industry. I'm a former chef. I saw the quality of food rapidly declining, and I saw the quality controls of that food at the same time even more rapidly declining. So the reason that you can't find pasteurized or unpasteurized rather is because it's so difficult to be able to find a small farmer who can get it to market through the regulations of the state that they're in. Because that's been the bigger part of the plan all along, is to kill the small farmer. That's what we have been battling in cannabis for the past decade. They have been squeezing us out through regulations, stalling of actual regulations, forcing people to pay leases on buildings that they can't even build out until they get their license, sometimes for years.
And it's all big institutional lobbying that creates these laws in order to corner the market sales to themselves.
Exactly.
And
Look at what's happening in the state of New York. Look at what's happening in
right.
Maryland, where there's already MSOs who are filing lawsuits against social equity applicants for cannabis. And these are social equity applicants are people who have been unlawfully arrested and imprisoned for cannabis in the past when they shouldn't have been. This is not just for a race thing or anything like that. This is for people both who have been arrested as well as who've been marginally affected through the drug war. So this is all the MSOs. It's all big corporate who's done all of this shit, who's trying to crush the small farmer across the board. So what you do every day, it's like I try to tell people all the time, if you want to make real change in your country, it's through the change that's in your pocket. What you buy is the real difference that you can make in your local communities, who you support, what brands you support, and knowing what brands are actually not owned by a big corporation that you may think is a small mom and pop. That's part of the laziness that the American consumer and the American citizen has suffered for the past 30 or 40 years in general. And that extends past just what you buy, but what you pay attention to. What garners your attention?
the complete lack of
Go
attention
ahead, Keith.
people have had towards the people who are coming up in politics. Because the guy who runs for president came from somewhere. The guy who runs for senator came from somewhere. And it's usually he started a long time ago in your local government. So all of this has to do with accountability on oneself. And once you start to look at these things through a broader lens and take off the horse blinders, it all becomes a little bit clearer.
Hey, Robert, you explain real quick what you posted up above.
Which one?
Both of them.
Uh,
Actually, yeah, three of them. Why not?
Chuckles is writing something about some promoting some scam, and we got IBM is asking people to be voluntarily lay off themselves, which that's never going to happen. Unusual Wells posted that Silicon Valley Bank collapsed. The executives pretty much sold all their stake before the collapse, so they knew what was going on. And hedge fund icon, we're just 2 years away from U.S. debt. It's sustainability. I can't say the word right now.
Sustainability.
Sustainability crisis sparking a major global market event through zero hedge.
And let's look at the 80% cuts in key departments, including human resources.
It's no
It's
big
not
deal.
stopping. It's not stopping. The news keeps on rolling.
Well, it's a no big deal. Just wash your hands. You're fine. You'll be okay. Please. Go ahead, Keith.
Hey, I want to bring up a simple math for people, especially the young people in the room, investing in the stock market. And it really is all boils down to objective. What is your objective? Your objective should be to amass as many shares as possible, correct? So I want you to take a look at something. If you bought a share at $1 and it goes up 50 cents, you made 50%, correct? So you still have a share and a half. Let's say you take that same share and you shorted that dollar and it drops that same 50%. How many shares do you have now? Somebody explain this math to me. You had two. Now you see how they're fucking us? It's so simple for them. They're taking every dollar we're put in, they're shorting it, and they're doubling it with 50% move. In order for us to gain that, it has to move.
Except you're out the borrow rate and the buyback rate.
Yeah, but we're buying shares. See, we're turning our dollar into shares. To them, it doesn't really matter. It's pure mathematical equation that if your objective is to amass as many shares as possible over your lifetime, I'm telling you that at some point it is to your advantage to short that share. That's how you double your shares. By dropping 50% instead of going up 100%, and now you have what? You doubled your money. You still only have one share though.
You still have to have buyers to have the other side of that short to borrow from. So when they short the buyer's value. So they're using your
Do
value
you
that you're
see
giving.
any problem in them shorting the whole market anywhere on any stock? Absolutely
No,
not.
because as long as there's buyers, there's going to be a supply. And the supply isn't based on the fucking free float. So the price never gets discovered on a supply ratio of buy volume. So
And
every dollar you buy that goes into their pocket, they can use to short with your own money that same stock to devalue the price of the stock so they can
exactly.
buy
And
it
it
for
drops
cheaper.
50%, and now they can buy back two of the shares and
Right.
ride it out compared to we're
But
still stuck with one.
but at the same time, they're accumulating more short positions at a higher compounding rate of unwinding when you look at how many shorts they accumulated against a never-ending supply.
And that's why they're called a hedge fund. And we're not.
That's why.
Sue.
But
Hold on. Sue Ray.
What's going on, brother? The only problem I see with what you're stating, Keith, in the simplest terms I can say it, is they have never bought that share in the first place. They shorted it. Yeah, you're right about how they're taking it down and they're getting their money. But then you said now they have two shares. They still don't have the first share. At some point, they have to buy that one share, plus they have to use the other money to buy the second share.
you know what they did with that money you gave them? They bought Apple. And then they
Well,
borrowed against
okay.
Apple for liquidity to short that down even more, so that they could raise more spread value between the short value and
They don't even
the.
do that.
I'm
They just
drinking
hit a
whiskey and this is
they hit
pissing me off.
F9 on their computer and create 1,000 more shares at any time they want to. They just create it out of thin air, and that
All
is
I
true.
wanted, all I wanted to say was cut HR 100%. If you got to cut other people a certain percent, that's fine. But get HR's ass out of there because they're a bunch of fucking communists.
I love you, Sue Ray. Dude, you are the best ever.
I love that comment.
Just
That
to
was the
make
best thing I've heard.
they don't print shares out of thin air. They print longs for buyers so as not to realize a price value of buy demand. Once them shares are bought naked, then they can naked short the other side of that. But a naked short equal to a naked long is a zero balance, right? And it doesn't reflect the fucking free float because the dollar value clearance obligation is both held by a naked long equal to the naked short. So as long as there's buyers to create a share supply to short against, there's an infinite amount under the current system that can be shorted until buyers stop buying and they stop creating a naked buy supply
Well,
in
that's the
order
point,
to
Matt.
facilitate that naked short supply.
See, I wouldn't bring up what they're doing. I could give a shit less what they're doing. I mean, I do, but if we're looking, we're out to protect ourselves, right? And how do you protect yourself? Of course, you
You're
know, if
not
you're
protected.
short and shit, you're taking on a risk. But if you own the shares that you're shorting, then you're hedging against your own shares. So there is a point. Let's say I wanted to amass as many Tesla as possible before I die and hand that over to my kids. Well, it ain't to my best interest to always ride it long and then hand that over to my kids. No, my best
When
interest
you're
would be
short, you're giving up your power over that position, whether it's a covered fucking short or not, for exercise of that, meaning they can take every share you own through an exercise.
they can do that already because they changed. I forget which year they changed it, but the custodianship of our shares, we don't own jack shit. We absolutely own nothing. And
We own
according to the
obligation
law, they could
value
take
of them
everything and
shares.
we get nothing.
We own the obligation of the value of them shares once we realize a sale value at whatever price they're at. Until
That's
then,
how it
yes,
used to be, but
we
we
don't
don't own shit now.
So
we don't
what am I
have to.
buying,
We
Keith?
own the delivery of the value
Hold on.
at the
What
time
am I
of it.
buying? What am I buying, Keith?
You're buying a right that if it doesn't go bankrupt, they'll pay you out. But if it goes bankrupt, you ain't getting shit. You have no right for nothing. And it really, you're buying part of a scam. You're buying a. This is nothing but a scam system for the rich to get rich and for us to lose our fucking money. It's all a scam. Everything's a scam. But is there a way to
So
win in the scam? Yeah. Somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. That's the whole object of this whole game. And we don't make the laws, so it's kind of like playing roulette, where you got one chance and they have 36 or 38, all depending on how many green zeros they have. So it's rigged against
So,
you from the get go.
so I'll explain it in the best way possible, and then I'm going to go ahead and say my final word and leave you all with the video. But this is what Bleach has talked about since I've known him. It's the game. The game that you can't win because they can change the rules in the middle of the game. It's like you're playing Monopoly. And you don't get to be the top hat. You basically always get to go to jail because it's their rules of their game. Can you beat their game? Absolutely, you can. And that's why I am filled with optimism for what lies ahead. The ebbs and flows of the economic cycles are but chapters in the grand narrative of humanity's progress. Each bubble in our history is not just a moment of tension, but a prelude to a wealth of opportunity that emerges in its aftermath. To seize these moments, one must stand resilient, eyes open, as the dust transformation settles. Consider the legendary investor Warren Buffett, whose name has become synonymous with enduring success. His legacy was not built on fleeting thrill of speculation, but on the bedrock of strategic foresight and patience. When the market soars with euphoria, he prepares a war chest, ready to unearth the gems left behind in the aftermath. His philosophy is simple yet profound. True wealth is built by steering clear of losses and focusing on the long game. So let's let us ready ourselves for the dawn of a new chapter, the day of reckoning of the market beckons, promising a fresh horizon of possibilities. It's time to be present to witness the birth of a new era, rather than to be caught in the twilight of one that is passing. Let this be the call to action and inspiration to embrace the future with courage and conviction. And with that, I leave you with Brad Williams. Matt, go ahead. You have 2 seconds.
Just ask yourself one question. Do you think 80% of the market's price equity valuation realization has any reflection of the deflationary value of the price that it is currently equated at over the inflationary value of the last 3 years?
Correct.
I love my job. I get to do this for a living. I get to travel. Traveling's great. And don't get me wrong, it's hard sometimes. You know, you gotta leave your family. I hate leaving my family right now because 2 months ago, I became an uncle for the very first time. Yeah, uncle. I didn't do anything, but yeah. My sister gave birth to a healthy baby boy. His name is Liam. And like, I saw her pregnant for the whole 9 months, but I didn't really think about it until he was born. And then my brother-in-law comes in with Liam, and he looks at me and goes, "Hey, congratulations, you're now Uncle Brad." And he hands me Liam. And I look at him. I didn't know what love was. I had no idea. And now I'm staring at him going, oh. This is what this is. I love you. I love you unconditionally and without prejudice. And you have done absolutely nothing to deserve this love. Nothing. Your life resume reads shit once. That is it. But I love you, and I'm having this moment of realization of the most powerful emotion in human existence. And my dad from the back of the room just yells out, "You know he's gonna be wearing your clothes in like 2 weeks?" My dad's pretty funny. Family's laughing, mom's crying. She's a grandma for the first time. She walks up to me, she's like, "Brad, when are you gonna have one? When are you gonna have one, son? You will be an excellent father. You'll be a good provider for a family. You should absolutely have yourself a child." I don't want one, okay? I don't want kids. Now, if you want kids, have kids, trying to have kids, good for you. Best thing you'll ever do in your life. But understand, I don't want one because if I have a kid, 75% chance that kid's gonna be tall. I don't want anything that by age 3 can fucking kill me, all right? How do you even discipline that kid? You're like, "You're in timeout. You're in timeout, Dad." I'm walking away like, "You're right, son. I shouldn't have said that to you. That was not right." I'm not ready. I'm seeing what my sister has to go through. I'm not ready for that. She doesn't sleep at all. She spends a lot of money. She had to change her house. She had to do horrible things to her home.
She had to put up baby gates. Fuck baby gates. Fuck baby gates. I hate baby gates, okay? You guys know what baby gates are, right? You have a room in your house, you don't want the baby to go in, you put up a little baby gate, stops the baby from going into that room of the house. Great. It also stops midgets from going into that fucking room, okay? It does. It works. I know this. I've been cock blocked by a baby gate before. Cock blocked. I got this woman back to her house. She had a kid. She had the baby gate. She's tall. She does little step over moves like that. She's good to go. Meanwhile, I'm stuck on the other side like a Mexican at the border like, ¿Qué pasa? ¿Por qué? I didn't get laid that night. No woman wants to fuck a guy after she looks down the hallway and just sees. No! I tell that to my buddy. He's like, come on, Brad, you're a comedian. You're supposed to have a comeback. You're supposed to have a snappy comeback for every situation. What's the comeback for when a baby gate slows your roll? What do you say? I can't just look at her and be like, boost! You know? No woman's ever picked up her date like, you're gonna fuck me so good tonight. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I didn't get laid that night. But don't feel sorry for me. Don't be in the audience right now like, Brad didn't get laid. Please, okay? I do all right. Now, I understand this is not the stereotype of what women draw up in their minds as being attractive. I get that. But I'm a realist, okay? I don't want those women. I want the women that came to my show tonight, sat down, saw me run out on stage and went, oh, bucket list. All right, that's what I want. That's what I want. And by the way, hey, that's what I want. And by the way, if you're one of those women, oh, you made a good decision. You made an excellent decision. Every woman should fuck a midget at least once in their life, okay? You should treat yourself, okay? Treat yourself. Because we can do moves that these tall guys cannot do. See, it got quiet because the women were like, oh my God, what can you do? Oh my God. I'll tell you, ladies, straight up, you haven't experienced life till you've been fucked doggy style by a little person, all right? Way better than the tall guys. I know what the tall guys have to do. Tall guys, they get down their knees like that. They start off with that move right there. They start off badass. They start off like a champ, and that goes on for a good 9 seconds, okay? About 9 seconds. That right leg just starts getting a little sore. That thigh starts jamming it up. You start losing thrust right there. I know what happens. And every guy does the same move. They throw up the one leg, just like that. They throw up the one damn leg, just like that. That's when the woman starts freaking out. Oh my God, he's trying a new position. Bitch, that's a cramp. That's not a new position. That's what happens when you guys are doing doggy style. When I'm doing doggy style, I don't get tired because I'm standing up, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm doing. And I am aggressive. I am aggressive in bed. Look, my right hand instinctively went to a fist right now, okay? Instinctively. You want to know why? Because when I'm fucking doggy style, I'm pulling hair, all right? I pull hair, and I'm good at it, all right? A lot of guys do not know how to pull hair. You're grabbing it by the end. Why the hell are you grabbing her hair by the end? That hurts her. Stop doing it. You want to know how to pull hair? Pay attention. This is what you do, okay? Take your hand like this. Spread your fingers like that with the very bottom of your woman's head, right there. Then you track up the woman's head, just like that. And when you get to right about there, you grab as much hair as you can. You fucking grab that shit, all right? Women love it. Unless you're fucking a black woman, then do not pull that woman's hair. Never pull a black woman's hair. She will cut you, all right? See, you guys are learning stuff right now. We're communicating. That's the important part. That's what a lot of people don't do in their relationships. They don't communicate. You gotta be able to communicate. Talk. Tell us what you want. Ladies, tell your man exactly what we need to do to please you. Exactly what we need to do. Details. Don't just look at your pussy like it's a Rubik's Cube, like, solve that one, fucker. Stop it. Don't get me wrong. I get why you do it. You do it because you assume it's easy to please you. For you, very easy to please a man. Every guy wants the same thing. Doesn't matter where you go. You can be in the deep south. You know, I tell you what, I want a blowjob. You know what I mean? Go up to Connecticut. My God, lovey, I can go for blowjob. Like, same shit. We can drop you off in Africa. Be like, blowjob. Like, same shit. It's easy. Having sex with a dude is like walking into an IKEA with an Allen wrench. Like, oh my God, this works on everything, right? Talk. And I say that, but a lot of women pull this line and they go, oh no, Brad, I can't tell my man what I really want. If I told my man what I really want in bed, I would scare him. Try it. Try and scare your man. Try and scare your man. Let me know how that works out. No. My man is not that freaky. Bullshit. Okay? Bullshit, your man's not that freaky. You only think that, ladies, because he hasn't shown his freaky side. Because you're not that freaky. Understand this, ladies. I'm gonna say this one time. Your man is only as freaky as he thinks he's allowed to be. Okay? That is it. We know you have your line of freakiness, and we will go right up to your line of freakiness, and we stop at your line of freakiness. Now, every now and then, we'll dance over the line, okay? We'll dance over the line. We don't jump over the line. No. We just dance over the line. We just dance over nothing crazy, nothing insane, just like something simple, like doing doggy style, and all right, let's try it out. It is my birthday. Nothing into this. Just like that. By the way, if you know what I did there, I love you. I love you. I did that one night, and a woman yelled out, that's called the bus driver. I use a thumb. What's her man doing? Brad, you don't get it. My man's just not that freaky. All right. Try this then. One night, just go up to your man. Be like, hey, baby, tonight, it's all about you. Whatever you want, I will do. I'll not object. I'll not say no. I'll not say yes, but secretly harbor ill feelings towards you, which I'm going to bring up in a fight that we're going to have for about 6 to 8 months from this date today. I've already planned it. No. Whatever you want tonight, I will do. Tonight, baby, I am yours. Ladies, if you ever say that to your man, get a helmet. It's going crazy that night, okay? There's gonna be whips, there's gonna be chains. At some point, a closet door will open, I'm gonna run out. All right, I'm here to help. Let's do this thing. Let's make it happen. We're freaky, okay?
You guys have a wonderful weekend, or Sunday night, and I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully.